Nel nome del Padre, Figliolo, Spirito Santo. Amen.
Such a separation.
It is always great. It's always for me, it's just always an incredible experience to be able to have the opportunity to be able to share my thoughts from A Course in Miracles and my perspective and how it continues to impact my life and how it continues to help me, involve in ways that I never even thought possible. So I'm just always grateful and always appreciative of having the opportunity to be able to speak. And I'm also very appreciative of Reverend Tony, who continues to hold down the space for each and every one of us and giving a lot of talks. Even though myself and Reverend Peter and sometimes Reverend Paula speak, Reverend Tony does a lot, and just want him to know that how much I appreciate it and value the fact that he continues to keep us going. And so very, very grateful for that. And one of the things that I do that I feel is important for me is, whenever I do want to give a talk is to turn it over to the Holy Spirit. I always have my own initial thought of what I think I want to talk about. Something comes up regarding that aspect of it. And then I find every time when I turn it over to the Holy Spirit, the Spirit always has something different, what they think that I need to talk about. And I realize that it always has to do with something that is happening in my life, something that I may be going through, or something that I may be thinking or processing in myself. That the Spirit feels like, you know what, it's time to allow yourself to process in a way that you haven't had a chance to be able to do it, and to be able to, share my experience and my thoughts, with like-minded individuals. And so very, I recognize that and learning how to appreciate that. I'm also learning how to appreciate just being able to be in spaces that feels right. I realize as more and more as I continue to evolve in our biological age, that I'm learning how to really just be very grateful of the spaces that I have and that I have created in my life over the years. And of course, Community Miracle Center is a huge, big part of that. And so, so I'm just feeling very appreciative today regarding that aspect of it. And so today I was guided by the Holy Spirit is to talk about decision. As the title of my talk was the decision maker. And so I was thinking about that. I'm like, okay, decision could be, a variety of different things as we think about it and as we, look at it and process in ways that we may never even thought about it. And then for me, what it was, I was thinking about it, and then I realized in this world that we are in, each moment and probably, every day, we all have to make a decision one way or another. We have to make a decision. If we get up in the morning, we have to make a decision. Okay, are we going to go outside? We have to make a decision. Okay, if I have to go make some errands, am I going to do it by taking public transit? Am I going to drive? Am I going to, whichever way? It's like constantly we have these little decisions that we have to make, each time. And then also when I think about the idea of having to make a decision, sometimes, at least for me, I know, it can be very anxiety provoking. It can be, very overwhelming. And when I was thinking about that, and when I was, processing that and realizing, what is that about? Where is the anxiety, the overwhelmed feelings coming from, when I do have to make, a decision? And then I realized, part of it comes from my own fear, my own self-doubt that, if I make a decision, was it the right decision that I made? Was it, or not? And then I realized, when I'm in that space and when I think about that, that has to come, it's my ego. It's my ego that is bringing those self-doubts in me when I feel like I have to make a decision and I'm feeling those judgment. I'm feeling those just unsettledness and just doesn't feel right regarding that aspect of it. And then I realized that, you know what, when I take the time and bring the spirit in when I have to make a decision, there's another sense of release, a sense of calmness, a sense of like, all right, this decision was the decision that I was supposed to make in a good, in a good way. And then I was thinking about it more and more, and just realizing is, okay, how can we, on a more regular basis, take the time and really look at the decisions that we make and look at it and understand where those decisions coming from. And those decisions, are they coming from a place of fear, a place of doubt, a place of uncertainty? Or are those decisions coming from a place that feels right, a place of love, a place of healing? Is it coming from a place where we're allowing ourselves to uplift ourselves in ways that we never even thought possible? To just really, really think about, that, aspect of it. And then it made me just, really, really, think about it and realize that how fortunate, how fortunate that I am, and that actually a lot of us who has a spiritual practice have something to turn over when we do need to make those decisions. And for me, for the last, I guess several months or so, there's been some big decisions I had to, make in my life. And honestly, I was afraid about those decisions. I wasn't sure how they will manifest themselves. I wasn't sure if it was the right decisions that I had to make or not regarding aspect of it. And one of those decisions just happened, recently, as Reverend Tony alluded to. I'm very big in softball. That's a huge big part of my life and a part of my world that I'm in. And being, in softball, there's a lot of decisions to make. And some of those decisions may possibly create some people having certain feelings of some of the decisions that you have to make, and they may not appreciate it and like it regarding that aspect of it. But then, of course, reminds me of this: the voice for God comes from your own altars to Him. These altars are not things; they are devotions. Yet you have other devotions now. The voice of God comes from your own altars to Him. And so for me, recently, one of the conflict or decisions that I had to deal with was back in September when Reverend Peter and I was in Dallas for the big gay softball World Series. And one of the things that happens is I play on the same team with Reverend Peter, and I also actually coach a separate team. And so both teams actually, was at the World Series, and which means that I had to make a decision on if there's a conflict where we both play at the same time or at very different fields, where I'm going to be at. Am I going to be with the team that I play on, or am I going to be with the team that I actually coach? And and knowing that both teams need me. And me feeling like, okay, if I don't do one or the other, I'm going to feel, like I'm letting them down, or I'm letting myself down, regarding that aspect of it. And so this past, World Series, a huge, conflict came up regarding that aspect of it. Because initially I had thought that I had already made up my mind and my decision that, what, if there's a conflict, I'm going to go ahead and do and play. That's what I had, committed to do. But yet, when it came to happen, I was torn. I was torn of which way to go. And then the Course tells us this: your divided devotion has given you two voices, and you must choose at which altar you will to serve. Two voices. What are those two voices? our ego voice, and our spirit voice. And for me, when I was in that uncertainty, it created these mixed emotions of feeling like a failure, feeling guilty because I was not able to be there for both teams when they both, needed me, feeling resentful because I was not able to attend one where I really wanted to. It's those divide that we have. And it's very unsettling, when you're in that space, when you're not in that space of feeling comfort and feeling like you're really sure that you made the right decision. And what happened in one of those moments was, we had a game, and this was when I decided to play instead of going and coach my team. And so we played the game and all that stuff. And then after the game, we always gather together and, talk and process everything that's going on. And, Reverend Peter was coaching us at that moment. And so he always has some things that he needs to say. But at that moment, because I was so in my head and me feeling guilty about the decision I made to play and not to go and coach my team, I was very distant among other folks. Reverend Peter tried to talk to me and I brushed him off. I'm saying it in a very more polite way, but I wasn't that polite when I brushed him off when when he wanted to talk to me. And another team member, came up to me and wanted to talk to me and I pushed him away. And I had to take a moment and reflect on what that was about. And that was about is because I did not trust the spirit when I had asked for guidance on what decision I should make regarding whether playing or coaching. When we allow ourselves to truly listen to what the spirit is telling us, it's put us in a good space. I would not have to feel guilty or feel like I'm not showing up. Because the truth of the matter is, I had already communicated to the team that I coach that if it comes down to it, I will be playing if there's ever a conflict. And I assured and made sure that they had someone else to fill in if I was not there. I even created the lineup and all that stuff ahead of time. So why is it that I still allow myself to go down this spiral, which was unnecessary? And the reason why is I did not listen to the voice of the spirit. I allowed that voice of the ego to come in and to tell me that I was not making the right decision. And for me, that was a huge lesson to realize how powerful that can be if we just let a little ounce of the ego to enter and to doubt what the decision that spirit had set forward for you. And to trust in that and to believe in that. Then, of course, goes on and tells us this. The call you answer now is an evaluation because it is a decision. The decision itself is very simple. The decision itself is very simple. And it is simple when we allow ourselves to truly listen to what the spirit is already telling us. We ask for this guidance, and yet we have a tendency, or I have a tendency of wanting to say, no, you're not right. That's not the direction it is. That's not the decision that it should be. Spirit knows what the decision should be. The spirit knows it is very simple when we allow ourselves to be able to pay attention to what we're supposed to do. I did not need to create all this chaos in my mind. I didn't need to go down the spiral road. I didn't need to not pay attention to Reverend Peter or anyone else on my team, because of it. No, I didn't need to do all that. I put myself through something that was unnecessary because I did not trust the decision that was already set, that was already made, that had already asked a while back. And the Spirit also goes on and tells us this: my mind will always be like yours because recreated as equals. It was only in my decision that gave me all power in heaven and earth. My only gift to you is to help you make the same decision for yourself. The will for this decision is the will to share it, because the decision itself is the decision to share. And for me, this is such a beautiful reminder of what the course is about. My only gift is to you is to help you make the same decision for yourself. The course is amazing when they're able to bring those gems to us to understand what it truly is about. And the thing is that I had to realize when I look at it on a more deeper level, all it was my own sense of feeling like I was failing my team that I coach, where in reality, I wasn't. In reality, I had set them up to do what they needed to do way ahead of time, and that I did not need to control the situation. All I needed to do was just let it go. And this also quote reminds me of decisions that I had to make at work. I've had the last couple of months the opportunity to go into positions that was much higher than I ever, thought possible. And I was nervous. I was nervous to go into positions that, and honestly, that I am, got the skill set for. But yet, I let my fear get in my way of taking these opportunities and these chances at times, because I don't turn it over sometimes to the Holy Spirit to ask for decisions regarding these big things that comes up in our lives. And of course, reminds us of that. You understand the role of models in the learning process and the importance of the models you value and choose. To follow in determining what you will to learn, I am your model for decision. By deciding for God, I showed you that this decision can be made and that you can make it. I was interviewed for 2 positions and I was offered those positions. And I turned it over to the Spirit. And I realized at that moment that it was not actually about my fear. It was actually just about the fact that it just was not the right fit for me in those positions. And that, yes, the salary itself would have been great, but I wouldn't have been happy. I would have actually been miserable in those positions. So all that time, I thought it was my fear, but yet when I turned it over to the Spirit and got guidance, it made me realize, no, it is about now I'm in a stage in my life, in my career, where I can make the decision to do things that feels right for me, not because of money, because of what my passion of what I enjoy doing. And I was guided to understand that other opportunities are going to come up for you because of the skill set you have and because of what you can bring to the communities that you work with. And so I took a chance. We have a new positioning opening up in a department that I love working in for a deputy director. It was a very high position, and I decided to apply for it. And I am looking forward to it. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I know that the decision is right because the Spirit has given me the guidance to do it. Because it will give me the opportunity to bring all the skill set that I have had over the 30 years working for the department into a more higher level. So when it comes to us taking the time to recognize what decisions we need to make, it's important for us and for me to realize that the decision maker is not me. The decision maker is when I'm able to turn it over to the Holy Spirit and to trust that the Spirit knows what is right for me. And the Spirit knows what's right for me when it comes to my softball, other things I need to do. And the Spirit knows that at this point in my life, that it's okay that I wait for the right position for me in a higher level, that I don't have to just take anything because of the money. No, that's not who I am. I am about doing things that is benefiting our communities, all our communities. And now I have the opportunity by applying for a position that would allow me to be able to do that. And doing it in a more loving, healing, and caring way, and a passion that I have because of the spiritual practice that I have that allow me to involve that. Just remember, each day we have to make a decision, but those decisions does not have to come from fear. Those decisions can come from our love and from our spirit if we allow ourselves to remember to turn it over, and more importantly, to listen to what the Spirit is telling us, because the Spirit will not guide us in the wrong way. It will guide us in the right path. And that is my talk.
Nel nome del Padre, Figliolo, Spirito Santo. Amen.
Such a separation.
Have you been lonely? Have you been sad? How does it feel to lose such a close one? Have you been mad?